I'm about to provide in front of my audience the coldest take of all time. I'm going to say something incredibly non-controversial, something that will have many of you looking at me sarcastically thinking, Eck, you're so brave, and that is the Halo TV show does not understand the character of Master Chief, nor Master Chief's context and role within the greater Halo universe. And this is particularly disappointing in an age where it feels like we're finally starting to get good video game adaptations. I mean, look at The Last of Us. Obviously, some deviations from the source material, but I mean, generally, they're telling the story of the games and it's been beyond successful. To me, it's peak Hollywood arrogance to assume that these video game stories, which are well loved by millions, are not good enough. Oh, the nerds like it, but we'll have to make it a bit more consumable for the average Joe and Jill. That's not only insulting, I think, to the video game, but to the intelligence of watchers everywhere. Now, to be fair, Halo is a different show than The Last of Us, which, yes, is an action game and show, but is primarily based on the evolving relationship between Abby and Joel. Halo, especially the original Halo, not quite like that, which brings me to the quote that's been blowing up the internet over the past few days. Now, one thing I have to note is that everyone was acting like this was a new quote. It's actually not, and I'm probably contributing to the misinformation slightly by even making this video, but the initial quote comes from 2002 in an interview with IGN. Pablo says, "You're not going to be able to bring an audience along in a long-form story without having access to a character's face, which tells you how they're feeling, how they think. That access to a character's emotional life over the course of time is what makes you empathize and connect with the character. I'm sorry, but it's the only choice for long-form storytelling in television." What I would say to anybody who disagrees with that, I respect that opinion, but it's a pretty basic place to start when you're talking about making a TV show of quality. Now, for one, I just gotta say, I love Pablo. I think there are some major issues with his Master Chief, but I don't lay that on his shoulders, and by all accounts, he's just a totally excellent dude. Everyone who's met him, which seems to be a lot of people, he's always interacting with fans, always talking the guy up, and I mean, you got to appreciate how he gives his opinion with nuance and avoids the fans are dumb train, even with the show being totally ragged on. I do, however, disagree, and I mean, you can't say that statement in an era where The Mandalorian is one of the most popular TV shows. The Mandalorian is an excellent illustration of both how an actor can convey emotion even without the helmet, but also how the actual moment of removal becomes so much more important when it's meant to mean something. Listen, I'm not the hugest anti-helmet guy when it comes to the Halo TV show, but I do think if they were going to take it off, it should have had some emotional weight behind it, which it just doesn't. He's just a guy who takes his helmet off, and to be honest, that loses a lot of what's core to Master Chief's character. In the stories, does Chief take his helmet off? Yes. If you move beyond the video games and read, for example, The Flood, you'll see that during the events of Halo CE, Chief does remove his helmet on several occasions. He has a shower. He even meets with somebody with his helmet off, although he's slightly uncomfortable about it. However, the core of Master Chief's character and the way that he evolves is that he is essentially not a human at the beginning of the game. Now, this was a bit of an accident, I think, in how Halo was developed by Bungie. We'll come back to that early on and talk about the nature of military science fiction, but for all the hate I have for Halo 4, and I've got a lot, I do think the payoff of Master Chief sort of reflecting on his own machineness was interesting. Listen, people don't immediately have to see the main character of your TV show as an incredibly emotional and open character. That can be something that comes later, and when it does come, it makes it all that more meaningful. Again, The Mandalorian, when you see Mando in the first few episodes, he is, through 99% of his actions, a stoic badass. However, it's that 1% which can be conveyed just as well with his helmet on that makes us learn that there's some depth to the character, and Halo CE has those moments as well. Master Chief showing some compassion for the Marines he's around. I guess my point is, we don't need Master Chief to be an open book right at the very beginning, even if that is your ultimate goal. Like, the Halo TV show has tried to cheat their way to emotionality. Is that a word? I don't know, but they're trying to take what Halo 4 paid off with 3 games of backstory in 1 season and now 2 seasons. You know, Darth Vader never takes his helmet off, but in that moment when he's watching Palpatine shock his son, you know exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking about how, and this is true even without the prequel context, the man who's clearly oppressed him and been his master is now doing the same thing to his son. his own flesh and blood. That scene is not made more impactful by him taking his helmet off and a solitary tear running down his cheek. But I also do want to talk about the type of story that Halo tells. The best Halo material anyway. Halo 1 through 3. Halo falls purely in the realm of military science fiction, and in the original game, Master Chief is, I think everyone's heard this, basically a stand-in for the character. He exists so the players can experience what is truly incredible sights, kind of beyond, at least at the time, what any of us had experienced. What most of us remember of Halo CE is not how Master Chief behaved when he told Cortana and Guilty Spark to stop fighting. No, what people who played the game will say is that they think about the first time they stepped out of the escape pod into what looked like a normal environment before seeing the massive ring overhead, or how it felt to investigate abandoned Forerunner locations which felt almost lost to time, ancient beyond ancient, how the game's sense of gravitas and seriousness builds progressively throughout, how the initial sense of camaraderie with Marines and the other soldiers falls away to Master Chief's battle against incredible odds, and the final journey to the desolate plateau upon which sits the Pillar of Autumn. That's what people remember, because Halo, above all else, is driven by feeling. That's what makes the original 3 games so special. The atmosphere, what it feels like to be on this ring, the environments, the enemy design, the background material which you slowly learn as you play through the game. All of that is handled so well, and all of that would have worked quite well in a TV show. You could still develop Master Chief's character. There are plot threads in there. Master Chief can develop attachments to Marines. There's even another Spartan involved in Halo 1 if you know where to look. Hell, start with the Fall of Reach and move from there. But fans don't need to see Master Chief banging a Covenant prisoner of war with his face and balls out to empathize and be drawn to a character. And again, to me, this just feels like Hollywood thinking they know more than the source material. Like, there's a reason that Halo sold so many units. Halo 1 through 3, cultural masterwork. 343 didn't learn the original trilogy's lessons, and that led to Halo 4, 5, and to a lesser degree, Infinite, but really 4 and 5. The TV show made the same mistakes, and it's just so disappointing. Now listen, I understand that it's different. You are the character when you play a video game. You're feeling the exploration, the sense of exploration, because you're the one doing it. My point is that even in a TV show, when you're capturing the Halo franchise early on, you can tell a compelling story without it being a Master Chief biopic. But that's just my opinion. Let me know yours, of course, down below.